Now, moving on, I'm actually going to show more on the YouTube creator side. Whew. Okay, so if you're a YouTube creator, you probably are a consumer of YouTube content. So I'm actually going to skip a lot of the basics. If you want to definitely watch that demo, you can definitely check that out. But for the most part, I'm actually going to be focusing more on the creator tools here on YouTube. So a lot of this is probably very familiar. I might provide some tips and tricks. I might also provide like what tools are meant for what. So without further ado, I just want to first ask, like, what kind of creator are you? Are you more of a YouTube Shorts? Are you Are you brand new to YouTube? Or you are like previously a creator on like TikTok or Instagram, and now you're trying to branch into YouTube? Okay, so it sounds like you do want to do YouTube videos, period, but you are not new to content creation. So if you had content on TikTok or Instagram Reels, that might actually be a little bit different because those are more vertical and those are also optimized for mobile. YouTube, you kind of can see it on mobile, but you can also see it on the computer as well. So a lot of it's actually going to be horizontal, but that doesn't stop you from doing vertical because you could do YouTube Shorts as well. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm actually going to show you YouTube videos on a horizontal scale. If you have any questions, let me know down the line if you have anything in particular you wanted to focus on. For the most part, this is actually the page that you will land on if you go on YouTube. The tool that I like to use the most, though, is YouTube Studio. This is actually the one that YouTube creators tend to use the most. You'll see that there'll be content here on your left side. If you have content here, you'll see it populated. You can see many different types of content. You'll see videos here. You can go live here, which is a completely different thing. If you would like to go more into live, let me know. And then playlist, which is essentially, it's not content, but you're creating playlists for your content. You can, however, also make playlists off of other people's content too. And then podcasts as well, which is actually pretty new as well. So when it comes to promotions, this is actually something more on the business side. So I'm not going to really focus on it. It's also on a beta here, but this is the dashboard. As I showed before, you need to upload videos first before you have any channel analytics. And then we're going to have analytics that we're going to show. I'm actually going to be testing a video here. So we're going to go into the dashboard and we're going to upload a video for the sake of this video. So we're going to go in here and I'm actually going to go into one of my little storage here. And I have a video here. So let's just upload that. This is actually how it looks like when you upload a video on your computer. You can actually put in the test here. The default test title, which is the title of the file, is going to be your title required here. What I like to do with the title is actually, this is the most eye-catching area of the video other than the thumbnail. So you really want to make sure, like, I don't know, 10 ways to get big on YouTube. And then that is basically like the first few words are going to be seen. You can include more, but there's also a character limit of 100 here. Description, you can include a lot of information here. I like to generally use search engine optimization. So a lot of tools here you can use are Google Trends, and you can look up also what people like to watch at this time. So 10 ways to get big on YouTube, you can say, throughout my time here on Instagram, Reels, and TikTok, I am now finally joining YouTube. These are my tips on how I got big on YouTube. So with every single YouTube video, it will ask if you want a thumbnail. It's not required. It's just going to pick a random still though, however, in the video. But for the sake of the thumbnail, I'm actually going to do here, gain access to use. So verify. This is actually something that I did not prepare for in the demo because this is actually a side account that I have. But generally, you actually have to verify your account to upload a thumbnail. So let me try that out. Let me see if I could do that on the side here. Okay, so I have verified on the side here, and now I'm actually going to do a thumbnail. Let me try again. Okay, I have to refresh. It might let me go through because now it actually has been processed. So it's been fully uploaded, I believe. Yeah, so you'll see here when it's uploaded that it will show up here. It shows up in draft and it's checking here. And then we're going to go check here. I'm going to do upload a thumbnail. I don't have anything prepared, but I will use an older thumbnail here. Actually, I do have a whole set of thumbnail photos here. They are so random. Let's do this one. This is an old video that I had for resumes. So you can add it to playlist or you can create a playlist. So I'm actually going to create one and say new video. This one you can actually change public, private, unlisted. Public means everyone can search it. Everyone can look at it. Private means that you have to actually have email access. So we would actually provide like the email addresses that can have access to this particular one. And unlisted is anyone who has a link, but it won't be publicly seen. So YouTube is actually one of the biggest search engines up there. If it's searched up, you won't be able to see it, but the link you can. So for the purpose of this, I'm actually going to mark it as unlisted and go to description as well, and click done here. So moving forward, you would have to do this. This is actually a requirement now because of regulations for COPPA. And if there's a paid promotion, there's no paid promotion in this. There is no automatic chapters in this. Automatic chapters is where it would actually put in like sections and it would show the name of the chapter on the playback. So in the actual bar when you're playing, it will show. You can also jump to it if you put the timestamps into the actual description. So featured places, this would actually show and allow automatic places, automatic concepts. Tags are actually very helpful for if you wanted to actually have search engine topics here. So in this case, you could say, get big on YouTube, separated with a comma, YouTube tips, I'm on YouTube, and etc. You have 500 character limit. You can have a comma between each tag. There's no limits to how many tags you have, but generally the recommendation is long tail. So you want to have it where, like, for example, get big on YouTube 2023. That means people who search that, there would be fewer volume there and you would have a higher chance to rank versus just YouTube. YouTube is probably going to have so many results there that you'll just be drowned in it. So your content has to be really good to really do well there. So video language, I generally put English just because my content is usually in English. Where is it? When you do your defaults, however, this will actually set up your defaults. I actually tend to not fill this out unless I'm doing like a vlog. I do standard, I do all of these basics, my category and all that kind of stuff. And then video elements, this is actually where you can add subtitles if you have them done. Some people actually hire people to get subtitles, but for me personally, I don't do that. I use the English auto-generated one. You can actually do an end screen. We don't have any content on this channel, so you can't import from a YouTube video. However, you can add and do this. So there's also other ways you can add videos, playlists, channels. And for me particularly, there's like the subscribe, you can move it around. And then there's also the video and you can also view it around and move that around too. Click that. You do need two. You need to have your one video on there. And then you can also add cards. Cards is kind of like, let's say, you know, when I go like, check out the video over here, check out the video over here. Like those particular sections, when it pops up, that's a card. There's also a way where on the actual eye in the player, you can click in and you'll see that. Or later down in the actual screen, you'll see that go a little bit lower. It says more from XYZ. So this generally changes a lot. I've actually seen this change a lot. So there's not really that easy to tell you where it could be at the time of this recording. But you can actually put in more information here. So as you can see, I don't have any videos here. However, let me see if I can find more content from other people. So I'm actually just searching up my name and seeing what other content I could put up there. You can do up to 5. For the sake of this purpose, let me actually do this and just make a playlist as one. And then I can also make a channel as one. Oh, and for a channel, you do need to have that. Check out. And then check out my channel. So you'll see that's how the card looks like. I'm going to add more videos. Let me see if I can find the demo one. There we go. And you can do, as I said, up to 5. For the sake of it, let me see YouTube tutorial. And then I can actually click that up there and press save. So now that you've actually gone in through that, you actually have 3 ways you can actually publish it. You can set it to private. So only you or people you can choose can watch your video. And that's where you can put specific email addresses in there. You can also do unlisted, where that's exactly what I mentioned about the unlisted playlist. You have a link, but you can't actually find it or search for it. So anyone with the link, and this is really good for if you have content that's private, but you at the same time want to share it to other people. And that's really good for, like, let's say you have a class and you want to share, like, here's a pre-read without actually having other random people look at it. So it's a good way to kind of control who watches it. Then there's also public. There's a feature called instant premiere, where if you were to actually do instant premiere, there's like usually a live chat on the side and you're actually there at the same time. Generally, I would recommend instant premiere if you're there at the same time of the premiere itself, so that we can engage directly in the live chat. You can also schedule it, and this is when you can do the date and time, and you can also select what time zone as well. So in this case, it's really good for if you're like traveling and you're busy at the time that you're traveling, and you can still schedule. A lot of times the recommendation is to have a schedule. Like let's say, for example, mine is every single Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern. I try to do it around the same time. I don't schedule it though, because I actually a lot of like marketing I have to do. So I post it on Facebook, I post it on Instagram, and I like to know when it's out so that way I can do that. Then you can also set this for premiere, but this one's a little bit different because that one you can actually see it as showing like, oh, now she's going to be premiering in 3 hours, and you can technically sit there to watch. So there's a lot of different things that you have to keep in mind for our actual regulations, but for the sake of this, I'm actually going to click unlisted and we're going to click save. So now the video is live, you can share it. I'm going to go click into the video. It is unlisted, so you will see that it is unlisted here. And then there's also more information here. This is the description as I showed before. You have no views because the literally just came out today, October 14th, and all the information. Definitely check out the demo over there if you want a little bit more about basic YouTube. So now there's like an editor you can do, which is very similar to what we did when we created it, but now it's all in one place as opposed to from before. There's also a way to see individual analytics. There's literally nothing because we just uploaded it. You can see it in many different ways if you had more content. You can also use an editor, which is really useful for if someone says like, hey, can you block out my face? I don't want it. You can use a blur. You can also trim a particular section if you notice that you accidentally made up a mistake, and you can also change the audio as well. You can also, when there's more content and more comments, you can see the comments that actually show up, and you would also see if there's any copyright strikes here. Copyright strikes are going to be very, very important, because if you have copyright strikes, you may not be able to be monetized. They may even say like, we're going to delete your account. So you always want to make sure you're staying compliant. Thankfully for here, no copyrighted content was found in my video. And then here's clips. If we wanted to do clips, we can do that as well. So now going back to the actual YouTube studio, there's analytics. There's really nothing. This is actually more on a broader area. Before I showed you the video, this is actually on the broader. So you'll see channel analytics. So this one is going to be like, you didn't get any views because I literally have nothing in here. But as more information shows up, you will see it. There's also the same exact way you can drill down here. And there's also an advanced mode. I really like this personally, because if I'm trying to find out what cities are my audience from, and I can say like, okay, maybe this person is mostly from the US, so you probably want to do more focused content about the US. You can also see like viewer age, viewer gender. You can see a lot of this information, and you can actually see how to basically optimize what you have. So when it comes to this, you'll see a specific section for earn. You do need 1,000 subscribers at least, and as well as you also need a lot of so actually this is for YouTube. You have to have all of these. So 500 subscribers minimum, and then 0 video uploads. You need to have 3 in the last 30 days. Public watch hours. So this is actually a rolling 365 days, 3,000 hours. So in this kind of case, if you have 3,000 watch hours, this means that when it comes to today, which is October 14th, from now until the next year, October 14, 2024, it should be at least 3,000 public watch hours, and it's public. So it can't be unlisted videos. It can't be private videos. It has to be public videos. And then there's public shorts as well. It's one of the following. So they're really capable in terms of if it's a video or if it's a short. And then you can also see when are you eligible. So there's many different ways of actually optimizing now. There's shorts. You can actually do it on your YouTube videos as we showed. In this particular video, however, because I'm not monetized in this channel, you will see though, it will literally show up here, and you can add where you put ads in. So for the most part, a lot of it is actually more on creating content, making sure people engage, and you have enough subscribers to be able to do it. And then finally, you'll actually get the opportunity to monetize on your content. So this is mostly how you create YouTube videos. A lot of times you create videos on the side and then you upload it, and you have it already edited at this point. But you did see that there was an editor. That's actually more on like last minute edits. It's not really more on, okay, I'm going to actually make the edits on YouTube. YouTube is specifically, I would probably say it's more of like a library, or more of like, here's a channel, a YouTube channel. You're not creating content on it. You can create content on YouTube Shorts. There's not a lot of resources though, in terms of what like the typical resources like Instagram Reels or TikTok have. So it's generally really good if you have content made elsewhere and then you put it up directly into YouTube. So that's all I have. Do you have any questions about YouTube Studio? I know this is not really the best one because it's not monetized, but I also do not want to show my account and show all that information because it's a little bit too specific. So hopefully this helps a lot. Let me know if you have any questions. So as you can see, while I was doing this entire, well, both of them actually, I was very specific to walking through everything and trying to be very logical as to what the next step is. I also try to go through in a chronological area. I also go through what is the typical user journey. The user journey for the content is, for the most part, going to be YouTube videos if you're on YouTube. So I focus on that versus if I were to do YouTube Shorts, I would have shown all of that. I would have actually even shown a mobile phone as well, because most creators are going to be on their mobile phone. For the purpose of the YouTube, the first one, I actually focus more on the computer itself. So if you have any questions about how I did the demo, I mostly did it in a way where I did not prepare, because I feel like I know about YouTube enough to be able to do something like this. And a lot of times you want to be very natural. A lot of times I'm actually looking at things on the screen and I'm talking about it, but I just wanted to talk about how I actually do a demo. It's very chronological order. So in the case of like the YouTube Studio, the YouTube actual creation, I showed from start to beginning how to create a content on YouTube, as well as like what you can do after that. So that's what I mostly have. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Hopefully this is very helpful for you. Check out the demo over here. If you, maybe you actually learn something new about YouTube, because I don't think a lot of people here are creators, but maybe this will look very interesting. So I'm going to just delete the video I literally just created. I'm going to delete that. So for the most part, let me know if you have any feedback. It's very difficult to do a demo without like an actual case, but for the most part, I was really basing it off of the typical YouTube viewer and then the typical YouTube creator that is, like I said, brand new to Instagram and TikTok. So that's why I was talking about, like, let's say, how do I actually edit a video? Do I do it in the platform or do I do it before? So that's like kind of like the mindset that I came into. You would want to make sure you have everything persona. So in the case of like, how does cards work? How does all of this work? That typically doesn't live in Instagram Reels or TikTok. So it's kind of good to do research ahead of time, though, to know what they are familiar with and what they are not familiar with. So you can dive into a little bit deeper on areas that you may be familiar with, but they're not. So that way they have a stronger actual way of understanding. That's a little bit harder because I don't have a human here, and normally it's a little bit more engaging to actually ask like, oh, what do you think about this? I thought about having Addison here, but he's not necessarily good with role playing. But let me know what you think. Hopefully this is very helpful. Thank you so much. Bye.